So I've been hosting my YouTube channel for 4.5 years. And this week, I think maybe tomorrow, actually, before I record this, I am going to hit 10,000 subscribers. What have I learned along the way about HR? Well, listen up. That's coming up now. Hi there, I'm Andrea Adams. This is the HR Hub, as you well know, and on the show we talk about anything related to HR. I encourage you to subscribe to the show, please, or to the podcast. Become one of my many subscribers and keep learning about HR. So today I'm going to do a solo episode. I don't do this often, but I felt like maybe today I should because of this milestone I've hit. I'm going to talk about 7 lessons that I've taken away from probably over 150 conversations. I'm not actually counting, but I know I've spoken to many, many people. And so this today represents 7 takeaways from all those interviews, and they all relate to practicing HR. The first and most important lesson I've learned that's come up so many times is around this idea of what business problem are you solving? I can't really pinpoint this to one episode, but I know that it was crystallized in the conversation I had recently with someone. And she asked me that question: what business problem are you trying to solve? And it pretty much sums up this idea that I've heard so many times. It has been a theme in the episode that to do good HR, we need to focus on the business. If you are not solving a business problem, it is probably not going to get any traction with leaders. And so the moment they have an opportunity to cut that program, it's going to get cut. We're all working in the end to make the business, the company that's paying our bills, successful. And of course, we care about the people that are in the business, but we need to connect the way we care and those programs that we're building that demonstrate caring to business outcomes. And I know, like, say, engagement, for example, engagement is driving business outcomes, but we don't do engagement for engagement's sake. So get to know your business, understand what keeps your executives up at night, because if your great idea doesn't solve a business problem, it may not last very long. The second lesson that has come up again and again is around preparation. We should be prepared. And also, we should do everything faster. And we should be basically flying the plane while we're building it. I've heard this theme of preparation in so many conversations, and yet I know that you and I, as I practice HR, there's so much pressure to just get the work done and do it fast. And there's this tension, like, do I do it fast or do I do it well and prepare? We can't just launch initiatives without thinking them through. Like, say, for example, someone, and this was this came out of an episode with Pam Schmidt. Let's say someone wants team building. We should probably be thinking twice about what problem that person is actually trying to solve, and ask a few questions. Be a little bit more prepared rather than diving into, yeah, of course we can do some team building. Preparation also helps us dig into the details, and those details, if you miss the wrong one, can be the difference between success and failure. There's a tough balance between being ready and just getting started. Sometimes we just have to gather our best data and go forth and learn as we go. The next lesson I've learned is that in HR, you're going to get criticized. You need to develop a thick skin and develop some leadership courage. So this is something I've learned and I continue to learn. I'm not sure I've learned it directly through conversations that I've had on the channel, but I certainly have learned a lot about what leadership in HR means. HR is one of those areas that our clients and other people, they love to hate. They're even making TV shows about us now. So you're going to have to make decisions with incomplete information, and someone is going to second guess you when they have the benefit of hindsight. Persevere, try to get used to it, but we also need to be prepared to lead. And leadership in HR is often uncomfortable because we have to stand up for what's ethical. We have to stand up for what is compliant. even when our clients want to take shortcuts through things. But we can't be so dogmatic about it that uh, we are not looking for creative ways to achieve their goals and operate ethically. You're going to have to make that call, though, and you may have to stand up to some of your clients, and that is going to take some courage. So, the next lesson that I've learned through my channel is around psychological safety. Psychological safety yields results. And this has been a theme on the channel over and over. I've done a number of episodes on this, and Amy Edmondson's work keeps coming up again and again on the show. So I know that for some clients, this idea of psychological safety may sound touchy-feely, but it truly does deliver business results. In this age of AI, we have to innovate, we have to have new ideas, and we have to ensure that our employees are belonging, which drives employee engagement. And all of that needs psychological safety to exist. And of course, all of this is in service of the business and the organization. But to get all that innovation and ideas out, people need to be able to speak up, and they need psychological safety to do that. And so lesson number 5 is about consulting. So if you've been following my channel at all, I often refer to different experiences I've had as a consultant to small and medium businesses. And I keep getting asked questions by people who are interested in consulting, but here's the truth. If you want to go into consulting, you need to be good at business development. You need to learn as a consultant to sell, network, build a client base, build a pipeline of clients to succeed at HR consulting. And it's a very different skill from just doing HR. And I think it catches a lot of potential consultants off guard. Lesson number 6 is about feedback. And this one came up recently, and I think it struck a nerve. And the focus of this episode was about receiving feedback as opposed to giving feedback. We often train our supervisors and leaders on how to give feedback, but we never train anybody on how to receive it. And it's a really important discussion. I've had more people reach out to me saying that this conversation struck a nerve than just about any other. So if you're receiving feedback and it's making you really uncomfortable, you have the right and the obligation to filter it wisely. You don't have to accept every piece of criticism that you ever get. But I would say if you're hearing the same bit of criticism from multiple sources at different times, that maybe there's a thread of truth to that, and you really need to digest that and learn from it. In my example, I know I have a tendency. I just try to prepare people for that tendency because the tendency in me is so hard to check. And it has its advantages as well. But some feedback isn't valid, and you're not required to accept it. So lesson number 7 is about DEI. And the lesson is that DEI deserves the same grace as other initiatives. So I've done quite a lot of episodes on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I've seen the pushback coming for some time, so much so that this time last year I was working on a panel discussion about the future of DEI. I would say that our rollout of DEI hasn't been perfect, but things like bias are so real. And just one story to drive that home. I was at an event not that long ago, and we were put in groups to discuss barriers to success. And I think the intent was that we would look internally for what the barriers to success were. And for me, that's certainly true. But this woman, she wasn't Caucasian, and she said that she's unable to get promotions because she's not Caucasian. She's not from North America originally, and she doesn't drink. So after work, all those events after work, when they, let's go have a drink at the pub, or let's go have some beers over a round of golf, have led to her exclusion. And she wasn't complaining about it. She was just expressing this as something that was genuinely painful for her. And she still had a beautiful smile, and she was, you know, still positive and forward looking. But I mean, I felt that pain, and that's real. That bias is real. Her coworker was getting promotions because he could go to those events at the pub and golf courses and feel that inclusion. And we're missing out on a whole lot of talent if we can't include people like this person. I don't even know what her name is, and I'm a bit sad about that. So here's my question that came up in a conversation I haven't published yet with Catherine Connolly. And it's one she raised. And she said that we afford so many other business initiatives the opportunity to improve through debate and criticism and learning. Why aren't we offering that up for DEI? No, we sure haven't done it perfectly. But can we do it better? Absolutely. We don't need to abandon DEI because we haven't done it perfectly. We need to learn and get better. So I hope we have that opportunity. I hope you have that opportunity to make your DEI efforts more effective. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Those are my 7 learnings from, picking from so many across this journey I have had hosting my YouTube channel. Of all of these lessons I've listed today, what, if any, do resonate? And if you've been following my show at all, have you learned something else that you would add to the list? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. And if you have been part of my journey to get to 10,000 subscribers, thank you so much. Thanks for listening and learning. Here's to the next 10,000 subscribers. And as I always say at the end of all of my episodes, thanks for watching or thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time when I talk with another amazing guest.